Here's more wrestling news for February 11th, 2021. And your headlines for today include WWE rumored to have signed Indian MMA star Sanjana George. WWE puts finishing touches to NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day card. AEW books tag title match and more on Dynamite next week. AEW star announces positive COVID-19 test ahead of tonight's Dynamite on TNT. New York allowing indoor arena events with new restrictions. Cody Rhodes injured on AEW Dynamite. The Rock reveals how quickly COVID-19 spread throughout his family. Hopefully Mr. McMahon picks me to be in it. WWE legend wants to be in 2022 Royal Rumble match after 5-year hiatus. And more. More news from WWE now, as it's no secret that the company are always on the hunt for new talent, and now they're rumored to have picked up a big name from India. According to sources close to Sportskeeda, Sanjana George has been signed to WWE after appearing in a tryout match with WWE in March 2019. A star of MMA, George also describes herself as a lifelong WWE fan and is also reportedly an expert in obstacle courses. In an interview, George says she idolizes superstars such as Ronda Rousey and Kacy Catanzaro, and following the success of the Superstar Spectacle, we imagine she'll be the first of many Indian stars signed by WWE. George could one day end up in NXT, and the finishing touches have been put on this Sunday's TakeOver Vengeance Day card. It's been revealed that Johnny Gargano isn't really injured, and it was all a ruse for him to get out of his North American title match. And we have to give props to The Way, as we were one of the millions fooled. With that match seemingly still on, Gargano will defend against Kushida, whilst Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon will face Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez in the finals of the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. In the finals of the Men's Dusty Classic, the grizzled young veterans will face NXT's newest tag team MSK, and it'll be impressive if the new team can win the monumental tournament this early into their NXT careers. Although these four teams are all impressing in WWE, over in AEW, the Inner Circle is splitting up. On this week's Dynamite, Sammy Guevara reached his breaking point when he thought MJF was recording him, and after smashing his phone against the wall, punched the cocky heel in the ribs. In the ring, Sammy reiterated to Chris Jericho what he said months ago, saying if one more thing happens with MJF, then he's done, and proceeded to quit the Inner Circle. Interestingly, the Spanish God left through the face entrance, much to the shock of Jericho and a smug grin from MJF. Guevara is the first person to ever leave the Inner Circle who've been around since AEW Dynamite began, and time will tell what Guevara does next on his own. Speaking of tag teams, the Young Bucks are doing big things as AEW World Tag Team Champions and will put their titles on the line next week. This week's Dynamite saw the Bucks accept a challenge from Santana and Ortiz, and it's been confirmed that their title match will happen on next Wednesday's show. Next week's Dynamite will also see Sting call out Team Taz after they took out Darby Allin this week, and Riho will make her AEW return, facing NWA Women's Champion Serena Deeb in the Women's World Title Eliminator Tournament. One person fans won't be seeing in Daily's place is Danny Limelight, who's confirmed that he's tested positive. Limelight, who last competed on the January 21st edition of Dark, confirmed the bad news on his Twitter account and said that he's on the road to getting better. It's never good to hear someone is tested positive, but we're pleased he's keeping optimistic, and we here at Slatrock are sending our best wishes to the AEW star at this time. Back to WWE now, and after over a year away from actual arenas, the company could finally be getting out of the Thunderdome. We already know that WrestleMania 37 will take place at Tropicana Field, but the New York Post is now reporting that the city will be allowing indoor arenas with at least a 10,000-person capacity to reopen from February 23rd. These venues are only allowed to fill 10% of their capacity, but this is still huge news for WWE, who frequent the New York scene. Brooklyn's Barclays Center, which has been used for years to host SummerSlam and other WWE events, will be among the first venues to reopen. Any fan attending will need to present a negative test taken at max 72 hours before the event, but with venues like Barclays, Madison Square Garden, and the Nassau Coliseum set to reopen, it might just be a matter of time before WWE returns to their favorite hotspots. Back to AEW, and unfortunately, Cody Rhodes was injured on the latest edition of Dynamite. During Arn Anderson's Coach Corner video, AA said that Cody dinged his shoulder during a tag match victory with Lee Johnson, and when asked by Wrestling Inc., AEW confirmed that a legitimate injury did take place. AEW revealed that Cody suffered a slight tear of his left rotator cuff during the tag team match, and his current status is to be determined. With a huge mixed tag match against Shaquille O'Neal planned for just a couple of weeks away, hopefully Cody won't have to miss too much time in the ring, as the last thing AEW needs is to postpone or even cancel the match that has garnered huge interest from outside the wrestling community. Now, given his roles in franchises like Jumanji and the Fast and Furious movies, The Rock seems pretty indestructible, but that didn't stop him and his family from testing positive recently. Fortunately, everyone in his family were able to recover, and speaking with Cigar Aficionado, the Brahma Bull revealed just how quickly it spread throughout those closest to him. He said, "In a 24-hour period, it had spread so quickly to our nanny's teenage kids, her husband, myself, and my 2-year-old daughter. We were the last ones standing until the very end, but of course, we both tested positive. It's scary just how quickly it spread around, and we're pleased that everyone involved was able to recover." The People's Champion is now very careful to avoid testing positive again, as all of the sets he works on are under strict guidelines, and we encourage everyone to continue social distancing, wearing a mask when out, and to keep sanitized at this time. And we're ending today with news from WWE, and although the dust is still settling from this year's Royal Rumble pay-per-view, there's one Hall of Famer who already wants to be a part of next year's event. On his Table Talk podcast, Devon Dudley said he'd love to be in next year's Men's Rumble match, and says he thinks his body is fine and ready to go. This may be the earliest example of a wrestler declaring themselves for a Royal Rumble match, and time will tell whether the multi-time tag team champion appears in the 2022 Men's Rumble match, over 5 years since his last WWE match on the SummerSlam 2016 pre-show. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.